Hi everyone, welcome back to AFC, Action Figure Captures. In today's video we have the DC Direct, the Joker figure from the animated series, or Batman the Animated Series. This figure looks incredible, the sculpting on the face is amazing, the suit details are great, the accessories are limited but they actually suit the figure very well, where you get the laughing fish and the revolver with the bang flag. So it does come with just a simple set of accessories, but they do look very good. He comes with 3 different sets of hands, 2 grasping hands, 2 trigger hands, and then 2 hands that have his fingers kind of curled inwards. I don't know what they're used for because he doesn't have any accessories that he would need to hold that way. I know this is actually a repaint and kind of a redesign of an earlier release, and that maybe had more accessories, like maybe cards that he might hold or something, and that's what those hands might have been for. But he doesn't come with anything like that. It's a very simple set of accessories. The figure looks great in stationary positions, but unfortunately, unlike the Batman, where they've retooled the legs and you actually have double jointed knees and you have a little more articulation, this guy is insanely limited in his articulation, and you really don't get very many decent poses out of him. So the photographs included with this video are going to be very simple, and there's only going to be so many of them because I can only get him into so many poses that are worth taking photos of. That said, if you're buying him just to kind of display him and maybe put him in a simple pose to kind of just display him with his gun in his hand, he looks great. Like, it's a really nicely done figure with regards to the looks of the figure. Just not so much for the posability and setting him up in any kind of really interesting poses and making him look good that way, unfortunately. Okay, let's get moving on. Okay, so in this shot here we have, of course, the packaging design. It's actually a nice, very simple packaging design. You have the actual drawing of Batman there on the top, and basically just the solid black with the orange. It continues on to the back in the same manner with the same drawing of Batman on the back. You can see inside the packaging there the additional hands and the laughing fish, and that's basically all your accessories. Again, pretty limited, but basically nicely done. The packaging is actually nice and simple. It's clean like the animated series was, very simple. So I do like the packaging. The only thing I really wish is I wish it was actually in like a boxed packaging, so you could put the figure back inside, as opposed to being on a card. Because once you cut the card open, it's a mess, and you really can't, put the figure back inside the way you'd like to. That's my only problem with the packaging. Otherwise, I think it looks fine. I like the way it's done. Nice clean fonts. Very easy, to read everything on the box. And again, I do like the fact that you do have, some accessories with them at least. It's not just the Joker figure and maybe one item. You do get the additional fish and everything, which is nice to see. So as I mentioned, here we have the back of the packaging. Basically at the bottom you have the DC Direct logo, which isn't in the shot, I'm sorry. But otherwise you basically have the same drawing in the back. It's the reverse color scheme, so on the front it was black with orange, now it's orange with black. And that's it. That's all there is to him. The figures come packed with a nice little catalog of the existing figures from both the animated series and the Adventure Continues line. And basically it's just a nice little catalog just so you can see what figures are actually available. And of course you've got Batman, and you've got the robotic Batman there, the evil Batman Hardak, Grey Ghost, Two-Face, all your most popular characters, Mr. Freeze, Red Hood, Robin, the armored suit Batman, of course, the Joker, Deathstroke. It's a nice little touch that they at least give you a catalog, and so you can see what else is available to you if you want to look into picking them up. So just a quick shot of the accessories. As you can see, you do get the laughing fish. That was in one of the actual episodes, and it looks great. They did a nice job painting it. Sorry about focusing here. But you do get the laughing fish, and they did a really nice job painting it. Nice clean paint apps and everything. He gets a hand, of course, so you can hold it. And I guess you can smack Batman with it if he feels like it. And then, of course, you have the gun with the bang flag with the revolver. And that's basically it. You get the hands to hold the items with, and you get the flags. I'm going to cover something in a second here that I'll explain. You can see how wide his arms are here holding everything. That's literally as close as you can get them to the front of the body because of the fact that the jacket gets in the way. So when you're posing him with his gun, you basically get this, and that's as close as you can get the arm. So you have to shoot him on an angle like this if you're taking pictures of him, because facing forward, that's all you're going to get, unfortunately. So again, he looks great. Not the best idea with the jacket design. I mean, I wish they'd done something to kind of have it a little bit tighter in the shoulder area so that you can actually have a little more range. But no. And the other thing is that it is really high up on the body, so he looks like a bit of a hunchback, but I think that's actually what he looked like in the series, to be honest with you. I think he actually did have his shoulders up quite high. The face sculpt is gorgeous. Like, I really do love that face sculpt. They did a really nice job with the face sculpt. You do have, of course, his squirting flower and everything as well. Forgive me for the focus, guys. I'm just trying to kind of do this as I'm kind of sitting in front of the camera here. But yeah, so you have the squirting flower, of course, and you have really nice design on the face, very clean paint apps, so you get really nice sharp details on the face and everything. Really nice. So now we get into the ugly part of the video, unfortunately, and we're going to cover articulation and posability. As you can see, standing statically, next to each other, they look incredible. The Batman looks great. All the added, cell shading details and everything is amazing. I do love that they finally added double jointed knees, and he's a figure that can actually do a lot of the jumping poses and the action poses that you didn't get with the previous release. The Joker, however, has none of those updates. It's just paint app updates from what I can tell. And that's it, I believe. And I think the head might be a new sculpt. I'm really not sure because I didn't have the previous release. But I love the cell shading they've added to the suit, where you get the deep purple on the sides of the lines and the jacket lapel and down the sides of the arms and everything. It looks great. The figure is beautiful, like in regards to the paint apps and everything else, and just the detail and everything and the way they've captured it. Really nicely done. I just really wish he posed better, because I'm doing this mainly as a photography thing, and I really wish they were better at posing. But they do look incredible standing next to each other, as you can see. I'm going to cover the Joker's posability, and then I'll do a bit of a comparison to how they've improved the Batman, just to give an idea as to why the Batman is so much better. And that's why I ran out afterwards and picked this guy up again at Heroes World, by the way, which is an incredible store. Not a paid promotion, but they're a great store. They're located here in Markham, Ontario, Canada, and they have a wide selection of items, all kinds of action figures, comic books, role-playing games, everything you can think of. And again, they're called Heroes World, and when you go in, just look for John Ho. He's one of the owners, and they can just walk you through the store and give you an idea as to what's available and how many great things they have available to you guys. Okay, so be sure to check their place out if you have the chance. Okay, let's move on to articulation. So as I mentioned a moment ago, as you can see with the arms, they cannot get any closer to the front of the Joker's body. So when you're aiming the gun, you literally have to angle the figure on a side angle just to make it look like he's pointing at anything. Otherwise, he looks like he's just pointing off to the side, and he can't point forward. He just can't move the arms any closer to the body than that. And the other limits in the articulation really hurt it, because he has no waist joint, so you can't turn him at the waist to make it look like he's actually turned facing forward. The ankles on the figure, there are no ankle joints, so basically you can just turn the feet left and right. You can't angle them. So when you start moving the legs, which are also on a weird hinge, which I'll show you in a moment, you can't angle the feet downwards to help rebalance the figure. They literally just stick out to the side, and you can't really balance him very well to get him to stand up. And I'll show you that now. So this is basically the best gun pointing pose you're going to get out of this figure, because you can't put his arm up much higher, because then it goes off to the side some more. You can bend them at the elbow a little bit to try and angle the gun upwards a little bit, but that's about it. Again, there's no waist joint, so you literally have to have him facing a sideways position the entire time. You can put his arm off to the side a little bit, so it looks like he's kind of like trying to, you know, stretch his arms out a bit and reach out. Now, if you notice at the hips, they've got that strange old cut they used to use where it has that really deep line running down the side of the figure's legs, so you can almost make him do the splits. Again, don't know why you need a figure like this to be able to do the splits as opposed to having him actually have kind of like at least like a thigh swivel or something to make his foot go forward, like, you know, have his leg angling forward. But I guess to keep the suit looking as clean as possible, they didn't want to put all those cuts in there. And then the leg is actually two halves, and they're actually glued together at the side of the thigh. And you see that really ugly line running up the side of the thigh as well, because of the fact that that's how they had to design the leg to come together to hold the knee and the waist joint in place. I guess it's not a bad thing when you're actually just having the figure standing there, but when you're trying to do it for photography, you got to kind of try and Photoshop those lines out so that you don't see those really ugly joint lines, or lines where they've actually assembled the figure, sorry. And again, as you can see, for some strange reason, this is kind of how the legs are designed. This is the best you can do to put his leg up. You can't do anything with him from this pose because he's got no waist swivel. He's got no other joints really, so all you can do now is take the leg, and at this really odd joint here you can fold his leg outwards, and then you can kind of put him down like this and try to get him to balance. Again, he doesn't do that very well because I don't know why they have a joint like this on this figure, but this is all you can really try and get him to do, and it's going to take forever to get him to stand properly, because all he's going to do now is fall over. But yeah, that's kind of how the legs are designed on this figure. They look really terrible. They've got really deep thigh cuts, so you have this really hollow area in the middle of the thigh for the plastic. And again, you really can't get him to stand because he's just impossible to balance. You have to keep angling the feet, so you have to kind of turn the feet downwards, just try to balance him. And he does not balance well, as you can see. So this is the best open leg pose I can get him to stand in, and as you can see, he's literally ready to fall over. Again, you can see how the feet, I don't know if you can see them there, they're on an angle. They don't go completely flat against the ground. So I would suggest knowing that you could use like a little figure stand to make him, you know, stay put. But because the feet won't go flat, you can't plug a stand into his feet because it's going to be angled up to the, you know, off the ground, and it won't fit, obviously. Again, if you look at the inside of the thigh, you have that really deep, awful looking cut where the joints are, and you can see the joints inside the leg. It's, you know, the knee joints don't look so hot as well. Again, you can't do anything with the arms really. You can't have them look forward. You can't turn them at the waist. You can't do any of those things. So for photography, this figure is really not very good. Again, just for static poses, a couple little poses quickly, it's probably great. And when you involve the Batman figure in there, maybe make them look like they're fighting. Again, these figures do not stand well. Doesn't matter which figure it is, the legs are so skinny, and it's just basically these are the animated designs, so you don't get them to stand very well. But at least the Batman has some like movement in the legs. The angle, you know, the ankles are on a bit of a rocker, so you can lay them flat again to help balance him. And so you get something like this. Now, the problem with these figures is the joints are all very loose as well. So as soon as they move even slightly, the figures fall over. But you can kind of do that sort of thing. I'm sorry that I can't really get him in the frame because I'm afraid to move that Joker any more than he is, because he'll just fall over again. But you know, you have basically the Batman. He's ready to fall over himself now, but don't do this right. There we go. So you can get Batman standing there. You can see that he has those new double jointed knees, which is great. And again, the ankles are on a bit of a rocker, so you can angle his feet, unlike the Joker. So I can put him flat, and I can use a stand with this guy and have them look like they're actually in a fighting scene if I need to, and then just Photoshop the stand out afterwards. The Joker, you can't do any of those things with, unfortunately, but they look great together like that. Like, it looks like it'd make a really nice scene if only they had done something better for the articulation. Just to further sorry, just to further demonstrate the Batman's posability as opposed to the Joker, you can see the thighs aren't anywhere near as awful looking. They don't have that really deep cut there. You do have the double jointed knee, so you can make him look like he's leaping. You can angle the feet downwards, so you can, sorry it's dark, but you can angle the feet downwards and actually be able to see, you know, his feet as he's jumping. Like, really nicely done. You didn't have this with the previous releases of the figure. You even have a boot cut, so you can angle the boot even too. So I do really like what they've done with this updated figure. He looks amazing. So I love this guy, and I really wanted the Joker to go with the set to have the two of them to shoot together. And then I kind of opened up the Joker and saw what he was like. And yeah. So again, beautiful figures if they're just standing next to each other. Not so great if you want to do something more with them and make them look more interesting. And once again, because of the static, sorry, I mean when you want to put them in a static pose, so like with the gun, because of the single jointed elbows and the single jointed knees and everything, and the lack of articulation in the feet, this is the best you can do. You can't get that gun any closer to his head. It literally just goes off to the side like that, and then you have basically just the L-shaped bracket for the elbow. You can't bring the gun any closer to his head, so that's basically all you can do with him. Still looks pretty cool, you know, it makes a nice pose. I just really wish you could actually bring the gun closer to his head and make it look like he's actually holding it up near the, you know, near his face in like a more, you know, I guess a tighter position. I'm not sure how to explain it, but I wish you could get the gun closer to his head. The other thing I wish they had done is I wish you'd gotten two versions of the gun, one with the flag and one without, because, I mean, if you want him aiming, it's like you don't necessarily want him looking like he's fired the flag. So another thing that needs to be photoshopped out of the image to act as if he's just holding the revolver without the flag having been fired already. So yeah, just small gripes, but I really wish they had given a second copy of the gun without the flag, and I don't know if that's an issue with the gun looking too realistic, and I don't know why that would matter considering the size and the scale of the figures, but yeah, just a strange choice that they didn't give you a gun with him without the flag, so that you could look as if he was aiming something and getting ready to fire at somebody, as opposed to just having the flag sticking out already like he'd already done so. But that's going to be it for the covering of the figure. I'll just show you quickly if I can get this thing to focus closely enough to how awful these leg joints are. But yeah, again, to move the legs, you got to move the arms way up, and then you get this weird joint. So I guess if you can balance him on a stand, you could maybe have him doing a kick. I don't know why a figure needs this sort of posability. And the really odd thing is you can see the legs. This is kind of what you get. So you get this really weird sort of double leg pose. You can see how loose the joints are, obviously. Very loose. And yeah, very awful looking construction. You feel like you're going to break them if you angle them up too high, because again, it is split there at the thigh. So that's where they glued it together, and that's probably why the side's loose. Maybe the glue isn't as tight. I don't know. But again, the horrible knee joints. Again, the swivel of the ankle. That's literally all you can do with the ankle is go left and right. It doesn't pivot in any other way. And yeah, that's basically it for this guy. I'll take some photographs. I'll put them together, and we'll see how good we can get this guy to look, just based on what he does have to offer. Again, if you put him something like this, where he's just looking straight on, if you can get him to balance, he looks quite nice and quite menacing. It is a very menacing looking grimace on his, or grin on his face, sorry. And like that looks like it'd be a great photo right there and a great pose. And that's what you're going to get from this guy. Unfortunately, that's basically all you're going to get. But if you're not buying him for photography and you're buying him just to kind of play with and display him, you can play with him a little bit and have some fun playing with him. And you can put him in a couple of minor poses, but he's basically going to look best just the way he is now, possibly looking forward if you want looking forward. But I like the way he looks when he's looking down. He looks really menacing. And with the right lighting, as you can see, you can make him look quite dark and quite menacing. He looks pretty evil. Try and see if we can get his head up here just so you can get a better look at his face in that position. Hopefully he'll stand. There we go, perfect. So yeah, you can definitely get some nice kind of darker shots of him that way, where he's coming out of the shadows, and he looks nice. I just really wish they had done something more with the articulation and like made more sensible choices in the articulation. It's not like he doesn't have joints, they're just not in very useful places. Okay guys, so I'm going to wrap this part of the video up. I'm going to take my photos and kind of do my edits and see what we can get him to look like, and hopefully he'll look good. And if you like the video and you like what you've seen, again, like I said, the figures are nice. If you want them just to pose them and have them standing side by side and kind of, you know, have the collection of the figures that way, because all these animated figures are kind of like that. Oh, that's the first time the Batman stood up by himself without falling over immediately, so that's great. But they do look amazing together, and I'm sure all the other figures from the set will look just as good. It's just a matter of, because of the design with the really thin legs and the heavy upper torsos and everything, they don't balance very well and everything else as well. So you're going to have to be very patient that way, or use figure stands on all of them. They do have holes in the feet to peg in a stand. It's just a matter of having room for all those stands. If you're going to display a bunch of them together, you're going to have enough space to spread them out enough to have room for the stands. But yeah, that's it. Again, they look great. I do love the designs and everything. They're very well designed. They're very nice looking. I just wish the Joker had like better joints and everything, like I was mentioning earlier, and I'm kind of beating a dead horse at this point. Okay, moving on to the photos, and I'll tag those in either at the end of the video, or I'll kind of pepper them throughout the video as I show you some of the different poses of the figure. Okay, thanks a lot guys. If you like what you see, and if you have any suggestions, any recommendations, if there's something you'd like to see, please let me know, and I'll see if I can get a video together of it and maybe put some edits together of the items and so forth. We just had our Boxing Day pass by, so unfortunately I missed a few of the sales because of Christmas time money and everything else as well, and trying to buy gifts for people. But I did buy a few things like these two guys here. Thankfully I was, you know, able to get these guys and everything. But yeah, if you can think of anything you'd like to see and everything, I'll see if I can pick them up and take some shots. And once again, these figures are available currently at Heroes World in Markham, Ontario, Canada. And they do have inventory. I was just there yesterday when I picked up the Joker, and they still had some Batman, and they've got all the other ones as well, like the armored figures and all the current ones. Red Hood and I believe it was Robin and so forth as well. Those are all in stock currently with them, and they are on for a fairly good price. So just give them a holler and maybe run by the shop if you have the chance, if you're in the area, and pick these guys up if you like them. I do love Batman. He's one of my favorite characters ever, and I do love the animated series, so I do appreciate having these guys. Just as a photographer and trying to do action poses, they're not the best thing for those things. I do have a Batman shoot that I put together, and I will be doing a video of that. I won't be doing any audio commentary on that one. It'll just be the photos with the actual edits and the video showing the figure's articulation and accessories. That's why I wanted to do this follow-up video with the Joker, and I wanted to explain what the differences in the Joker and the Batman are. Okay, thanks a lot guys. If you like everything, please like, subscribe, and let people know about this channel so we can keep this guy going if you guys like it. And I'm really hoping you do. Sorry for rambling guys. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Take care.